So again, excited to have you guys here. They're going to share a little bit about what they do in general, and we're going to focus more on privacy. So Brady, David, thank you guys for being here again.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Appreciate you. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Alex, you guys are probably tired of hearing of me, but we got David on today. David's going to have a lot of great insights. David's ran a lot of businesses over the years, and he's really brought a lot of awesome experience to Main Street Business Services to help make us the company that we are today. So I'm excited to have him with me today.
I want to mention one thing, before you guys continue is, I personally never get sick of hearing you, Brady, because we're always hearing something new. We're always learning something new. And the main reason I want to be, full transparency is I'm a client of theirs. They have products and services for me as an investor. So that's something that, I use their product and services, and I feel a lot of people in our community can benefit from it. So that's why we have them here to share what they do, answer questions you have. If they can offer you any service, great. If not, if you know somebody, then please connect them with them. So it's all yours.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Yeah, I mean, just for me, having ran businesses in the past, I've been a business owner. I've worked with business owners over the years. I just there are things that small business owners sometimes overlook. They make mistakes with things that they don't really think are a priority. And we're really focused on making sure that, business owners today don't fall into those same traps. Especially for those of you on here, I would imagine, you're into real estate investment, whether it's, properties, rental properties, whatever it may be. You're likely, doing a lot of your business through an LLC that you're setting up or a corporation. Maybe it's multiple LLCs or multiple corporations. What we do here at Main Street Business Services is we offer company compliance and maintenance that protect and keep your LLC or your corporation in good standing with the state, whichever state your LLC or corporation is registered in. We're taking care of your annual state renewal to make sure that it's current and that, again, it's in good standing. We've got registered agent service. We've got a privacy address service, which we'll talk a little bit about here today. But again, this is all about setting you as the business owner up for success. It's making sure that certain things that could potentially derail your success and your momentum, that they don't happen. We want to be your compliance partner, and we want to make sure that you're set up for success and that, you've got all this taken care of. So I'm going to share a quick video here from our founder and our attorney, Mark J. Kohler. If you haven't heard of him, look him up. MarkJKohler.com, I think, is his website. He's also got Main Street Tax Pros. But it's a great video that I just want to, kick off and share, because I think this is, some things that he talks about here that at least I, as a business owner early in my professional career, I didn't realize, I didn't understand it. It kind of, created some frustrations for me later on. So again, I think it's a good lead into some of what we're going to talk about here today.
Your LLC or corporation, did you accidentally just make your home address public? A lot of business owners don't realize it, but the moment you filed your corporation paperwork or LLC with the state in your own name, your personal info went into the public record for anyone to see. That means marketers, scammers, even random people looking up your business suddenly know where you live. And there's really two issues, that of registered agent and the company address. And you want to keep your personal information out of both of them. So at the end of the day, remember that every business that's set up, LLC or corporation, has to have a company address. And we want to make sure that that address, if possible, is not your home address. Now, a registered agent isn't going to do this for free. It's a separate cost. Now, what we like to do is have an address and create a virtual mailbox. So we'll be this virtual mailbox, and it doesn't have to be in the state. The registered agent does, but the company address could be somewhere else. But a virtual mailbox is oftentimes more affordable and simple and saves you a lot of time. So we service company address to thousands of companies around the country in a different state. Receive your mail, scan it, and email it to you. Now, again, the beauty of this is not only privacy, but efficiency. Now, you don't have to go down to the P.O. box down the street freaking every 2 or 3 days a week and pick up any mail. It's emailed right to your doorstep. And it's just as affordable as a registered agent service. So when you couple company address with a mail forwarding, digital mail forwarding service and registered agent, now you are private. You're protected. And you have just saved a lot of time and money.
Perfect. Thanks, Alex. So yeah, it's a great lead in here to, I think some things here that, again, I think a lot of business owners, especially new business owners, don't really take into consideration. We've all been there. We're setting up our first LLC or corporation. It's exciting. You're creating the name for your business, email address, business cards, all that good stuff, but you're not putting much thought into some of these things, and not realizing that when you set up your LLC, that now all of your information is publicly available. And so these are just some things that we want people to take into consideration. Now, based on the state that you're registered in, that you've created your LLC in, there's some things that you can do to keep certain information private. Some states like California are a little bit more challenging to keep information private, but there are some options, and we can discuss a little bit more of that later down the line. But I think the important thing that I really want to get across here today, especially to maybe any new business owners who may be on here with us, is I understand it, especially when you've got that first business, you're trying to protect your bottom line, you're trying to increase, profit margins and all that. And you're looking at what services can I do myself? What services do I not have to pay somebody to go and do? And a lot of times people look at company compliance, like filing a state renewal and registered agent, and they look at it, they're like, I can just do that myself. And if you got your one LLC, and if that one LLC is just holding the status quo, and just doing what it's doing, you can probably do it yourself. But I think most of us as business owners, we don't get into this to just hold the status quo. We're getting into this because we want growth. We want success. We want to make a lot of money. And so what typically happens is once your business starts to take off, once you're spending more time focusing on the growth of the business, acquiring new assets, selling assets, flipping properties, whatever it may be, less of your time is now dedicated to some of these other things that you said you were going to take care of. And that's like compliance. And, maybe you miss a state filing. Maybe you catch it in time and it doesn't create any issues. Maybe you don't catch it in time. Now your business falls into bad standing. Now maybe you're trying to sell a property or an asset. It's going through the due diligence process. And they've caught it. Your business is not in good standing. Can't move forward until you get that taken care of. You don't want to have to worry about that. Or walking into, a bank trying to get a loan, and they pull up on the Secretary of State record and they're like, your business is not in good standing. You haven't filed this, your renewal in 6 months. You don't want to have to deal with that hassle. So that's where I talk about having a good compliance partner at your side, like us here at Main Street Business Services, is really important, because then as your business starts to grow, as it starts to take off and you got that momentum going, you don't have to worry about this other stuff. Likewise, with information that would otherwise be publicly available, we can help hide some of that information. Like with registered agent, as Mark was talking about in that video, that's usually the first place we start in terms of what information should you not have out there publicly available. I made the mistake very early on in my career. I just said, I'm just going to be my own registered agent. I'm in the state that my company's registered in. I'll just do it myself. I use my home address. No problem, because I was like, no one's ever going to serve me. I run a good business. I don't have to worry about that. But sometimes things happen. Sometimes you get subpoenaed for records for something you didn't even, realize that, you were somewhat, involved in. Or sometimes you have an employee and the IRS needs to garnish their wages, nothing to do with you, but because you're the business owner, you're the one that has to respond and take action to that notice. And if you don't, you can get in trouble. So you don't want to have to worry about that. You also don't want to worry about a process server showing up at your front door, at your house, or at your place of business. If you got kids, you don't want them opening the door and have some stranger there saying they're trying to serve you documents. So what I say is don't even worry about that. Don't even have that risk. Have Main Street Business Services be your registered agent. Our address will be used for any process of service. We have it in all 50 states. So wherever you are, we can offer you registered agent service. So that way, if there is any important legal notice that's coming from the IRS, the Secretary of State, whatever, federal or state agency, we're going to get it on behalf of you and your business. We're going to scan it. We're going to upload it to a secure inbox. You'll be able to access it. You'll know that you got something because we'll send you an alert, because that's the other thing. If you're your own registered agent, you might miss an important document. And then if you do, and you don't respond to it in time, that could jeopardize the standing of your business. That could jeopardize your assets that you've got in that business. And that's why it's so, so important that you have a plan in place, that you've got a trusted partner for registered agent. it's not just protecting your address, but it's making sure that if on the off chance something happens, you happen to get served, you don't have to worry about missing it. You're going to get it. You're going to be able to respond, take care of it. And again, it's all about protecting your business. So for me, what I like to tell people is don't look at us so much as a service. Like, oh, I'm just paying for a service. No, we're not Netflix. Look at us as an investment into the success and the protection of you and your business. Because again, it just takes one small thing that you may not even have accounted for. That maybe doesn't even directly have to do anything with you, but one small thing could derail all the months or the years that you've put into building up your empire, building up your business. You finally have this acquisition, your exit strategy is right there, it's about to happen. Bam, something goes wrong over here. You don't have a plan in place for it. It could throw it all off. And we don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. As someone that has seen that happen to business owners over the years, I just, it's avoidable. And again, it's an investment that you're making into your business, into yourself as a business owner to protect yourself, because you want to have that protection. You want to make sure limited information is out there because you don't know who's looking for your information. We live in a day and an age where anybody, whether here in the US or overseas, they're looking to, mine data. They're looking at identity theft and so on and so forth. Limit the amount of information you got out there because it all tracks back to your company where you've got your assets, your property, your real estate, whatever it may be. You want to protect it. We're here to help protect that. So that's really what I wanted to get across, from one business owner to, several others here on there. Like I said, I understand it may be something that you think that you just want to do yourself, maybe save, a few bucks. We've got deals, we've got discounts available. If you're just getting started and you're like, that price point's a little too much for me right now, we can work around that. We can accommodate because we want to make sure you're protected at the end of the day. So right now I'll turn it over to Brady if you want to take it from there.
I wanted to add something if you don't mind. I mean, you
Of
brought up a
course.
great point. That's the difference between running a business and just, a gig, right? Brady and I have spoken about this multiple times. I mean, there are certain things you can do on your own, but when you're scaling and growing, you got to really figure out where do you want to spend your time as the business owner. It depends on what position you're taking in your business, right? I just feel like, it gets to a point where you're really wasting time. If you really think about it, it's costing you more, the opportunity cost versus having somebody do it. Now, if you're going to hire somebody internally to do it, that's an expense too, right? You guys are like a very inexpensive solution, in my opinion, at least for my business and a lot of the other investor partners that I work with that work with you guys is, peace of mind, right? I don't have to
Yeah.
worry about forgetting the SI in California or the registered agent or this and that. It's already handled, right? Things are handled, things are there. And another thing I wanted to mention is that, it's not very strange to get sued or get served. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're doing anything wrong. In my opinion, if you don't get served, at least in California, it means you're not doing enough.
That's so true. Yeah, and that's a great point, Alex, because it's so taboo. When people think of getting served, they always think, oh, I did something wrong, or, it's not necessarily the case. When you're doing business and your businesses are taking off and they're thriving, the likelihood, like you just said, especially if you operate a business in California, you're probably going to get subpoenaed for something or you're going to get served for something. It's just part of the process. Doesn't mean that you did anything wrong, or anything nefarious. It's just part of the whole process of owning a business and being a business owner. So, I just like to tell people, even though you like to think that it's never going to happen, I'm never going to get served. Yeah, just when you start running that business and it starts thriving and that empire starts to get built, higher and higher, the likelihood that you actually will it increases. And for that person that's like, well, I'll just be my own registered agent. Murphy's Law. That's what I like to say. That one day that you decide, I'm going to go to the dentist because I got to get this tooth taken care of. It's going to be gone an hour. Guarantee you have run that business for like 3 years. That's going to be the hour that a process server is going to show up to try to, serve something for your business and you're going to miss it. So don't even risk it.
Yeah.
No, that's a great example, David. I can relate. I mean, really, I love looking at this like an investment because that's what it is. Your business, you're investing a lot of time, money, effort, a lot of brain power. You're sacrificing. I mean, as a business owner, I speak with hundreds of business owners every month, all the time. I've never ran one myself, but from the perspective I have, just speaking with and working with and advising business owners, is that peace of mind is something that is so hard to come by as a business owner. And it's something that when you sign up to run your own business, you're almost giving that up in ways. But so if we can help make some of that up and fill in those gaps, we can take a lot of the stress off of this process. This is something that, regardless of how large or successful or how small or brand new your company is, all of you, all business owners have one thing in common, is that you have need of these services. You have to have a registered agent in all 50 states, regardless of how big your company is. It is a legal requirement. And then you do need to provide addresses, especially in California. And we'll get into some details about how California is different than most other states, a very transparent state. So privacy and risk mitigation in that way, it's hard to come by, but these are surefire and easy ways to make sure that you can maximize those benefits to the extent that the state will allow you to do that. And so that brings us to, the services we provide. David mentioned we've got company compliance services. We have a registered agent in all 50 states, and then we provide a privacy address and that you can use anywhere on behalf of your business to make sure your home address or your business address, if you work out of a home office anywhere, is not on public filings. It's not going to be out there for data brokers or anybody that's trying to target you or build a portfolio on you. They can't use that information. Why make it easy on them? Like we mentioned, it's like having insurance. The 1 minute that you get rid of that insurance or you're not planning on using it, that's when something happens. So don't let that be you.
Yeah, why don't you share something about our Privacy Safeguard Plus membership, Brady? Just want to speak to sort of the complete protection that offers. We've got different packages based on, what you may or may not need, but our Privacy Safeguard Plus membership, it covers you with everything. So, when we talk about company compliance, what we're talking about is, filing your annual state renewal. In California, I think it's every other year. In other states, it may be every single year. Every state's got a different requirement there. And those requirements sometimes change, and we're staying on top of that. Sometimes they'll even, say that you've got to include an extra filing with your annual state filing. A lot of business owners don't even realize that, and they think, okay, I just filed it, I'm done. No, you didn't complete it. So we're staying on top of all those changes. So with company compliance, you're getting that done, but then you're also getting an annual set of company minutes that we will draft and prepare for you. I don't want to go into too much detail about this one here today, but the annual minutes are important for your LLC. It's basically a historical document of everything that happened in that last fiscal year for your company. So if you acquired new assets, sold assets, if you're planning on doing any sort of tax, tax deductions, off of business expenses or anything, you're going to want to capture all of that in the annual minutes. And we make it super, super easy. We give you all the questions, we go through it, make it painless. So we're capturing all that. Now you got a historical record, because again, we talked about before, you never anticipate or expect things to go wrong. You don't anticipate ever getting sued. If it does happen, you want to have those annual minutes there because they are a historical document that say, this is what happened. We added this member to our LLC at this date. We acquired or we sold this asset, so on and so forth. And you can submit those if in fact you're in front of a judge or you're going through a court case, and they can actually be used as evidence to substantiate what you're claiming is to be true. So you want to have it. And again, we make it super easy, so you don't even have to put much effort into it. It's done once a year, and that's it. And then so as we've also talked about, that includes, we've got registered agent service, so you're taken care of there. And then the privacy address, which I'll let, Brady talk a little bit more about, because it's more than just keeping your address private, but it's also taking off the burden of having to sort through mail. We're doing that for you. We're going through it, we're sorting it, we're weeding out anything that's just spam, so you don't have to worry about it. We're scanning it, we're uploading it to a secure inbox, so you've got it there. You're getting a notice when you've got new mail that comes in, so you might be getting something from the bank, from a lender, the IRS, or wherever. You're making sure you're receiving that, you're not missing it, and you can access it while you're on the go. So, you never have to worry about, like Mark said in the video, I got to drive to the post office, the PO box, or wherever I'm getting my mail every single week. You don't have to do that anymore. You've got your virtual inbox.
Yep. You don't have time for that. Know that you're that important that you have other things to focus on that are far more worth your time. You're a business owner. You've got the American dream at your feet, and you can do what you need with it. Carlos, I saw your chat, and just to let you know, I appreciate you joining us again. Carlos is a regular on these meetings from what I've been on, and we'll address your questions throughout this, because registered agent and privacy address really go hand in hand I wouldn't really recommend one without the other, but the registered agent, that's going to be crucial. But as you can see on the slide here, this is our Privacy Safeguard Plus membership. These are a lot of what's included. Just to break it down again, it's company compliance services to tracking and filing annual reports, minutes. Then we're doing registered agent. We'll represent you. Everything will be handled privately, discreetly. It helps to maintain your professional image. This is something that is so underrated for business owners, especially new business owners. You're trying to build credibility with lenders, with the banks, with networking. And so if you're receiving a notice or a lawsuit, anything at your house or in front of clients at your business address, that doesn't look great. It kind of kills that credibility and that professional image. And so with the registered agent or privacy address, you're going to help to make sure that that's not the case. These are some additional benefits here is, again, security and peace of mind. What is your peace of mind worth to you? I want you to think about that as we're going through this, and especially talking about California in general. From the last webinars, we talked about California. You may feel like it's hopeless or there's no point to do it at this point. I've already established my entity. My information's already out there. Don't even mind that, because again, it's better to start now than not at all. We want to get you private. We want to make sure you're protected. You want to separate your personal and business info, establish a permanent business address. So again, a lot of you, if you're realtors or professionals of any kind, you're going to be on the move. You're going to be networking. You're going to be traveling. Or even if you move, you don't want to have to constantly be updating your address. You don't want to worry about missing anything. This simplifies all of that in one simple step. You can reduce the risk of spam, other types of risks, and further exposure. Data brokers are especially present in California. I've been looking into this a lot lately, and just because California is such a transparent state, there's a lot of goodies for the data brokers to get. And so don't make it easy on them. Make them work for it. If they're going to get your information, they better have freaking earned it. So that's my thought on it. Here's just a fun stat that we've got is 76% of small business owners have received unsolicited mail or contact at their personal address. And I'm willing to bet that each and every one of you probably fall into that percentage. And if not, great for you. That's awesome.
I want to add one more thing. Again, I mentioned I'm a client. I'm very happy with the services. I do want to point out, though, like I've done my due diligence, and I want to encourage people to really, shop around and price things out. Like after they get familiar with your services, you guys are really, I don't want to use the word cheaper, a lot less expensive than others, like with the specific services you offer. So I don't, that's not for me, that's not the thing that drives me. Obviously, I'd love saving money, but for me, it's more the bigger picture, the experience, the service, and so forth. But for those that really care about the price, you guys knock it out of the park as far as the price point that you charge. So that's another extra thing.
Thanks, Alex. I just want to mention something too on the pricing. I appreciate, you saying we're pretty affordable. I'd like to think that we are, but we're also real people. We're business owners. We understand, in fact, last night as I was, getting ready for bed, I was just, looking at my phone, and an email came through from one of our clients who got a notice that, her subscription is about to renew in a couple of months. And, she was like, oh, this couldn't be coming at the worst time. My business has kind of been slow. And I responded immediately, just said, we'll work with you. And I think that's the one thing that I want people on this call to understand. We're real people, we're real business owners. We're for business owners. We really, we understand the challenges that you go through. We're in tune with what's happening with the economy. We try to adjust. And that's not saying we're going to, just throw out discounts all the time, but we'll work with you because we want to make sure that you have what you need. You've got the coverage that you need, that you're protecting your business, and we want to earn that trust, and we're willing to do what we have to do that. So I just wanted to, share that as well.
No, that's great. And so on this slide here that we're looking at, I wanted to break things down, and I really do want to be good on time here as we're going through this. I just want to address a lot of these common questions that we get on these webinars or on calls with clients. Just addressing how is California different from other states, and what are some strategies that maybe with other states you can look into with our sister company, KKOS Lawyers, maybe your attorney, anything you've got there. So kind of looking at California, the different features with privacy that most people consider or look at, it's going to be, owner privacy. Do I have to disclose my name, my information, address disclosure, registered agent rules and requirements? What is required, what's not? How strict are they? Can I be truly anonymous? Is that even possible? Public filings, data broker opt out. And so in California, you can see it is required full disclosure of who owns the company, who's the managers, members, all of that information. In other states, especially like New Mexico, Wyoming, this is optional. That's why some people will set up an entity in Wyoming if it's a holding company and you don't need to register it in California. Why would you when you can maximize benefits elsewhere? With the disclosure, you're required to put your address on public forms in California. Some other states may not require that. Most do, but some don't. With the registered agent, how they vary in California, it's very similar. It is required in all 50 states to have one, but where they're going to be a little bit more strict in California is if you miss a notice or like a lawsuit, that can result in some legal troubles. And so we'll get into that on another slide. You unfortunately cannot get full anonymity in California. It's not possible with the transparency that they have. California is about as transparent as that Corporate Transparency Act that we all loved. I remember that. So, but the opting out of data brokers, you're about sixes no matter which state you're in, but they are pretty aggressive in California where it's so transparent. So starting off on these different points here. Okay, so California, they require public disclosure of key individuals. It is different for each type of entity. So whether you're an LLC owner, a corporation, or maybe you're just small, you're starting out, so you've got a sole proprietorship, you can see a lot of the content that's required here. LLCs is what I'm going to touch on because it's the most common. You've got the members and managers in your statement of information. And so business owners, when they first file their LLC, they don't even think about it. They don't realize this is public information. They often end up accidentally exposing their home addresses unless they use a privacy address service or a virtual mailbox from the beginning. In California, as we mentioned, does not offer true anonymity. Because California has transparency requirements that override anonymous formation elsewhere, even if you register in a different state like Wyoming and you want to preserve that precious anonymity, that's great. But if you're going to be doing a type of business in California, they're going to require it still as you register as a foreign entity. So just know that if you're considering doing something there, you need to be aware that you're going to have to provide full disclosure of this information. And statements of information, they're public, they need to be updated. So many of the people I talk to don't even know that they have a statement of information. They think I just filed that $800 franchise tax report and I'm out the door, we're great, we're golden. No, you need to file a statement of information. If you are served service process anything or a lawsuit, and they find that you have not kept up with your statements of information, you're in trouble. That's not going to look great in a court of law. It's going to be far more easy to pierce your corporate veil because you're not doing things as you should. And then again, your personal information is out there. So the most common problem here with this is, people list their home address by default, and these are published on the California Secretary of State. And so our solution is use our services, use a registered agent and a privacy address service to ensure that all of the required addresses are business facing and not personal. It's such a simple solution to avoid so many potential issues down the road. And here's where we get a little bit more to the registered agent, Carlos. So as I mentioned, I'm thinking of you here. So with the service of process, the rules are very strict in California. Here are some of the requirements is, as we mentioned, you must be available during regular business hours. So if you've got a registered agent that's your home address especially, yes, this does apply when you're on vacation. That's another common question that I get, and it makes me laugh because the world does not stop turning if you're traveling with the family. If you're running a business and somebody serves you in California and you're not there to receive it, this could result in default judgments in court. You can't even defend yourself. They'll proceed without you. So why would you risk that? Let us at least notify you so you're aware of what's going on. So even if you're away or out of town, you're not in the dark. We're going to make sure you never miss a notice. And so these are a lot of the benefits. So Carlos, if you're looking to make that change, get back on a call with me. We'll take care of you right away. And again, this is a professional registered agent. Industry best is what we provide in all 50 states. We will make sure that everything, once again, is handled privately and discreetly. You won't get served in front of clients or family.
Yeah, leaving them that opportunity to get you just by not filing a simple SI, that's crazy.
Yes.
Carlos, if you want to add to your question, feel free to unmute.
No, I think I got all the answers I was looking for. Thanks, Brady. I'm gonna reach out anyway because I want to switch my registered agent so I'm fully with you. I think I have my one part with you, but I'm gonna switch the registered agency to you as soon as my registration runs up with the Ohio company. I think we talked about that before too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So just send me an email. We'll get it sorted out.
I already sent them an email during this webinar to make sure. I want to know when it expires because I've been on so many of these webinars. I just want to be fully with you guys with this.
Okay. Perfect.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Carlos. So the fifth point I wanted to address is, again, data broker laws. This is increasingly a pain for everybody nowadays. Anybody can access your information. You've got other companies that are trying to solicit your business, or you've got individuals, people looking to target you for some silly lawsuit just to get a quick buck. Don't make it easy on them. They can easily mine a lot of your data, can get it for free from the California Secretary of State. And this is the other thing, is that other states, you have to actually pay for this information, which discourages some data brokers from seeking after a lot of the more personal data. But in California, it's all free. Anybody can look it up. Anybody can get it, and they can pull those lists. And so you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of this. California does have the California Consumer Privacy Act that's going to help protect you to an extent. You as an individual, if you're a smaller business or as the manager or owner of a company, you can request that data is deleted or suppressed afterwards. But that doesn't stop them from reposting it elsewhere. Once it's on the internet, it's out there. And so it's hard to remove, but you can stop further exposure. So you might have gotten lucky. Maybe you haven't had that much exposure. Your information's not quite out there yet. Why wait until it is? It's not hopeless just because you've already set up your entity. Now is a better time than never to take advantage of these benefits. The last thing here is that local business license requirements may add another layer of exposure. And this is one in particular that I don't know as much about, like with California, like realtor laws and other things. I know that's been brought up in Q&As. That's a lot of better questions for an attorney that specializes in that area. But I know that with a lot of them, they will require a California address. But for any of the other types of filings, whether it's state or local, like city applications, FBN filings, local permits, and you can use this with banking, IRS filings, you can use our address anywhere on behalf of your business as it pertains to that, to make sure that it's not listed there. And so you can customize really how you utilize this. That's the great thing, is our services are so flexible and so affordable with what the quality we provide. It's a no-brainer, really. And so the last slide here before we just kind of wrap up for Q&A is the benefits of adding these services to an existing entity. I really wanted to make sure that I hit this because this was the number one topic on the last one. Again, it is not hopeless. It's not pointless to start now. Here are the benefits and the explanations of what I mean with these. Is you can protect your future filings. Just because a previous statement of information has an old address, most businesses that are looking for your contact information or your addresses are going to look at what's current, because many people are likely to move. They're likely to, get some of these services, and they want to be able to reach you at the current address. With a registered agent, they're legally required to use the current address on file. So regardless of what address you had on there previously, that's going to be a no-brainer. So even if you're not as concerned about privacy, you still need a registered agent. And so you can reduce data exposure, like we mentioned. You can prevent ongoing republication of your information. Stop it now before it gets worse. It's a more professional image, professional operations, which improve your credibility. You're more likely to be trusted by the banks and partners, so you can take out those needed loans to grow and expand your empire, like David mentioned. Take this seriously. This is how you grow. This is how you excel. This is why we're here. It's to not only bring you peace of mind, but to empower you as the business owner to take this into your hands and to grow it. You've got secure mail handling. And at the end of the day, like we mentioned, it's so hard for business owners to come by, is that very much sought after peace of mind.
Yeah.
Don't stress about it if you don't have to.
Yeah. Last thing I'll just mention real quick is when you have that registered agent information, and it's publicly available, if you're using your home address or your business address, don't think that the only thing that, you can be served on is just something related to that business. Because it's public information, you could have a personal matter that a law firm may go and pull up that information by way of that entity and use it to serve you. So, because I had a business owner who had divorce papers served to him at his place of business in front of everybody because that was the only address they could find, and because it was publicly available. So they went and they used that address, and it just created, kind of an embarrassing situation. So just again, give some thought to, do you really want to have that information out there available for anybody to go and pull up? It's not just information that will be used, specifically for that business. It can be used for anybody to find you for any reason that they want to find you. So again, don't even run that risk.
Yeah, and so at the end of the day, here's our final thoughts. California is so high transparency, but the best legal way for you to protect your privacy, maintain compliance, operate professionally, and ensure your asset protection through simple means is to use our services. So enroll in Privacy Safeguard today. If you're not sure or you've got additional questions, any of the members of our team here, we're compliance advisors. We're specialized in knowing a lot of the ins and outs of this. And so if you do have additional questions, let us advise you, let us walk you through this. It's free to call and we can help set it up. If it's not for you, that's great, but we'd love to make sure that you can get to that decision and make that conclusion yourself.
Yeah, and I know we get attendees on the call that are not from California, so that's fine, that's okay. Obviously, Brady and the team, kind of put something together a little bit more for California this time. But if you're not from California and this may not apply to you, just connect with Brady and the team. That's the cool thing about them, is they're a resource. They're a resource of information. They're not there. They're going to get you. They're going to sell you what they have. They're there to answer questions. And if they offer something that works for you, they're going to provide that. Now, one cool thing I would suggest is let them know that you heard of them here on the webinar. This way they give you that extra discount, so make sure you tell them that. And I believe, is this a QR code where they can get in touch with you?
Well, so this one here will take them straight to the website. If you guys, after hearing us talk today, you're like, sign me up, let's do it, let's protect my business, go ahead and scan this here. On the next slide, we've got a QR code that will help you book a meeting, but you can also book a meeting through the website if you're there. So, if you get to the website and you're like, let's do the meeting, you can schedule it there as well. So I'll give this another minute here. If you want to go to the website, please scan this, and then we'll move on to the next slide in just a minute here.
Yeah, and in the meantime, if you have any questions, please drop them down. This is we're going to start the Q&A session. While we have Brady and David on, any question that comes to mind, just bring it up. And if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to do so as well. Do you want to, do you have a slide about like other general services that you offer as well, Brady? Or is that just something they can go check that out on the website?
Well, so let me go back to the, certainly check out the website. You're going to have additional resources there, a lot more detailed information about the other services.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, Brady mentioned our sister company, KKOS Lawyers. So, if you have questions about, the entity, your entity structure, should I be a C Corp, S Corp, should I have an LLC or a corporation, or, whatever it is, they can work with you to help with that. They can also help if you've fallen behind on filings, to get caught back up, We work very closely with them. If you have an entity that you're not using anymore, you're going to want to dissolve it, wind it down the right way. A lot of people don't do that, and that ends up creating issues. KKOS will help with that. We've got discounts that, we can share, if you do end up working with them. Or if you're looking to set up a new entity and you're like, all right, I want full privacy protection. So, how can I go about doing this? Work with them, from the very beginning. They'll get everything set up the right way. So that's just, I think, the other great resource that we offer here through our sister company.
But to even add on that, it's a curated plan that they create for you, and yeah, the trifecta. Ask them about the trifecta. It's just going to be custom for your business. It's not like what it is for me and so forth. That's what's unique about it. So again, I use KKS lawyers. We've been working on my trifecta for about a year now, and it's an eye opener. If you don't, for me, I'm a visual person. Once I see the path ahead and my goals and so forth, I can act on it. Otherwise, if it's all scattered, one, it's a liability, right? And then two, you don't know, you can't scale and you can't grow. So KQS are awesome.
Yeah, and so one other thing I wanted to add as well is something unique about California as well, and there's a couple other states that we can do this in. But when you're creating an entity from the very beginning, you have an opportunity, again, like David mentioned, to start things off right from the beginning with our addresses. So that way there's never any record of your address on file on these public filings here. But another thing that we can do to remove your name from yet another place with these filings is we can actually sign as the organizer. So if you're enrolled in Privacy Safeguard Plus and you set that up through us or through KKOS lawyers at the time of working with them to set up that new entity, ask them about that. We can sign as the organizer and list our name on that. So that way you're not exposed in that capacity.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, so definitely a lot more benefit from doing it for a brand new entity, but those benefits carry over for existing entities as well. But Alex, you asked about the other services we have. I brought back to this slide that just kind of breaks down that Privacy Safeguard Plus.
Okay.
It really is as simple as this, and there's more nuances or details. Again, visit our website, go look us up. You can watch and follow Mark Kohler on his content, on his podcast or on YouTube. A lot of great content there. And I know Alex kind of always ties things back on a lot of his meetings here. So you're in the right place to make sure you're taken care of.
Yeah, it's a wealth of knowledge there. Check out his channel, Matt and Mark. They provide a lot of value, a lot of information, and with a great sense of humor. The link, by the way, to that video is in the chat. So if anybody wants it, go ahead and grab that. Check out their page. If we don't have any questions, we can wrap it up here. Again, if you want the recording, please type recording in the chat so we can send that to you afterwards. And again, this is a QR code if you need to connect with Brady and the team.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Alex. Really appreciate it. Thank you for those that have stayed on. So let us know. We're always available if you got any questions.
Yep. Appreciate you guys. And again, if you're in person in the LA area, we'd love to see you at our upcoming events, Studio City and in Pasadena. Come check out Nate here, learn about self-directed IRAs and how you can use that to invest either actively or passively in real estate. Thank you guys again for coming on. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.